Ashe, this is the Truth Be Heard. My name is Raymond Witcher, and I will be your host. It's been a while since I did a video. I've been very busy with the spring coming. I had to take care of a lot of things in my yard. It's like an acre of land, and it's on a hill, so it's been beating me up pretty good. I've also been getting my garden beds ready to plant because I want to eat organic. But tonight, I ran across a documentary on Denzel Washington's life and career. Very, very good documentary. It was very good. And the thing that really captured me is they were showing all of his films. They were showing all of his movies. And I think he had a stretch of like 17, 18 movies that he made that were all box office hits. Okay. And there was one movie in there that I had never heard of. And it's called this movie right here, Cry Freedom. Why do you call yourselves white? Okay. I didn't know what the movie was about. I just said, okay, let me watch this movie of Denzel. I've never seen it. The movie is about apartheid in South Africa in the 1960s. Okay. And it's about this brother. His name was Steve Biki, B-I-K-I. All right. He was an activist in South Africa. And of course, they did the same thing to him that they do to every black. I don't care if it's in America. I don't care if it's I don't care where it is. If you are trying to break their system and you're trying to bring black people and Africans together, they're gonna kill you, like they killed Martin Luther King, like they killed Malcolm X, like they killed Medgar Evers. They're not gonna let you live. Okay. So this is what this documentary is about. But the thing that captured me is when I watched this, several things captured me. Number one, it's the retelling of our American slavery story, except we were put on plantations. The Africans weren't. They were just bullied. They were just put in so bad circumstances that they had no choices. Okay. And when they meaning apartheid and the police office and the government wanted to make an example, they just came into your town with the bulldozers and just wiped you out. They just pushed everything down, even though these were very poor living conditions. It's all these brothers and sisters had, and they had to run for their lives. Okay. So that's what this is showing. It's also showing that this is the same thing they did to the blacks in America. It's the same thing they did to the blacks in Jamaica. It's the same thing they did to the blacks in Haiti. All around the world. It is identical. Okay, so I want you to watch this movie. It's worth your time, and I would love for everybody to give me a little feedback on this one, especially my African brothers and sisters. And the reason I'm asking my African brothers and sisters to give me feedback is I want to know, have you ever heard of this? I want to know, how deep does this erasure and cover up go? Does South Africans know what was done to Kenyans? Do Kenyans know what was done to South Africans? Do Africans and Kenyans know what was done to the brothers and sisters in Ghana? Okay. And I don't think so, because the Europeans, the Americans, the British, the French, all of them control your education. They control the media. They control your religion. Everything about us, they control it. Okay, this is going to be a short video, but I took a couple of notes, and I'm just going to give you these notes so that you can have some of my reference points when you watch this. Okay, remember I told you that Africa is it's around 200, maybe 250 years behind us in getting their freedom. Now remember, as I said, Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent of 54 countries. Okay? 52 of the 54 countries went through exactly what you're going to see in this movie. Matter of fact, it's still going on in the Congo. Okay? This kind of treatment, killing people, just treating you as bad as they can, all in the name of Jesus, and you're going to get your reward in heaven, is still going on in the Congo. Okay, I want you to look at the way South Africans were and still are forced to live. That's one of the things. Okay, I want you to look at how many crosses and churches you see. When the movie first comes on, everywhere you see is a cross. And these are in the black villages where they have sold the Africans, you need Jesus, and Jesus is going to save you. Well, where was Jesus when he was pushing these people's houses down? Where was Jesus when did I do that? No, didn't. Okay. Where was Jesus when they were doing all these horrible things all over the world that they sold Jesus through missionaries, colonization, Hellenization, imperialism, and taking over total control of everything about us? Okay? The main thing white superiority doesn't want is our mental consciousness, and they talk about that in this movie. Okay? Anybody that's trying to wake us up, they're going to kill them. They're going to lock you up. They're going to hunt you down. Okay? All right? This is what they need to keep hidden. What is done to all of us all over the globe. Okay? I want you to notice that Denzel is telling them the same things I'm telling you. We need to know our history, culture, spirituality, and our own heroes. Okay? They erased all of that. Okay? They made their heroes our heroes. Okay? And we're celebrating these people that enslaved us. Columbus, Christopher Columbus Day. I don't know what they celebrate in Africa. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Ben Franklin, all of these were slave owners. Okay? So when, right, I'm just going to read these and then I'll interject and then I'm going to end this. Please watch this video. Right? All right. We don't want to be a black version of Europeans, and that's what we are. We are black versions of the Europeans. We are black, and every other race are versions of us. They don't want us to know that. We're the first people here. Every other race on earth is a version of us. And they have tricked us to believe we need to be like them. They have instilled in us their value system. See, when they can remove our VIPs, which is our values, our interests, and our principles, and install their VIPs, their values, their interests, and their principles, and we accept them as ours, we're no longer black. We are Afropeans. We are versions, and that's what this whole system is about, is to make us white. The way we think, white. The things that we're educated, white. The religion, white. Okay, they transitioned us away from everything that was about us, and now we accept everything that they gave us about them. I don't care how far you go in school, you're not going to learn anything about African history, culture, and spirituality. All right? How many times do blacks call whites? In this movie, take a note of whenever blacks are addressing whites, they'll say master. Yes, master. Master. Okay? Notice these little things. All right? Notice they will destroy anyone who speaks or goes against them to create fear in everybody else. They have no mercy, and these are the people that wrote the Bible that said God spoke to them and nobody else, and the white people are God's chosen people. Anybody that can do what you're going to see in this movie that they did to the South Africans, and keep in mind they did the same thing to the Kenyans, to the Rwanda, the Congo, everywhere that they colonized, they did the same thing. If you really look at what they did here, it's basically the same thing they did to us, except we were on plantations. They weren't. Okay. So I hope I didn't do that. Okay. All right. They came in and bulldozed all of the houses down. Notice how all of the colonizers show no mercy. And these are the Christians. I just said that. All right. Now, this happened in 1967. I want you to take notice of what's happening right here, right now in America. In less than 100 days of Donald Trump being the president, man, he is acting like he's really back on The Apprentice. He's telling everybody, you're fired. I mean, this, not just that, I'm bringing that out as a point, and I'm going to make one more point. He's made a big mistake, okay? Because the last people you really, really want to lie to and go back on your contract are veterans of the United States military. These are people, and I'm one of them, that went into the military. Some volunteered, some were drafted. I volunteered. Everybody that goes in the military here now volunteers. And you have a contract with the government that if you come into the military and you serve your country and you're honorably discharged from the military, we will take care of you for the rest of your life. As far as your medical and things like that. If you are in the military and you choose to make it a career and you retire with 20 years or more service, we're not only going to take care of you, but we're going to give you more benefits than we give someone that did not serve 20 years. Okay, well, it's a contract. It's a security blanket. Now, Donald Trump has been going around firing everybody in the federal government, just sending them emails, telling them you don't have a job. But his mistake was, and his big mistake, that really shows everybody how heartless he is. He and Elon Musk thought it was a great idea to say, we're going to fire 80,000 Veterans Affairs employees. Now, wait a minute. I want everybody to understand. The Veterans Affairs Administration, I would not think I'm too far off to say that 80%, maybe even 90% of those employees are veterans. A lot of these veterans that work in the Department of Veteran Affairs probably can't go anywhere else to work. The reason that they are able to work in the Department of Veteran Affairs is because they are respected. Everybody knows that a lot of these veterans have PTSD. We have all kinds of psychological issues, and they're not going to fire you. Okay? They understand this is the one job in America that a veteran can get, that he's surrounded by support. A lot of these veterans can't go into the mainstream workforce in America, to the private corporations, because they're not going to fit in. They're going to lose their job. And here Donald Trump and Elon Musk thought it was a great idea, and it's a great idea, to fire 80,000 veterans. You know how many snipers are retired veterans? The man that shot at him, what was it, Nebraska, whatever, he wasn't a veteran. He wasn't a sniper. I'm not wishing this man any harm. I am not being proactive to tell anybody to go after this man. I'm not, but I'm telling you, I've talked to veterans. I am a 100% disabled veteran. These decisions that he's making are bad decisions. I hope that he and Elon Musk rescind that, at least for the veterans. Okay, because it's going to be bad. Okay? You're breaking the contract that the United States government has with veterans that have retired and that are disabled in military service. Something happened where we became disabled. It's not showing any respect, and it's really showing all of these people that voted for him. You shouldn't have voted for me. All right, I'm just mentioning that. Let me get back to this, and we're going to go to that. All right. All right. When you watch this film, this movie, what I want you to really realize and understand is, notice that Elon Musk and Donald Trump have welcomed former South African apartheid people into this country. I mean, they might not even need a passport. They're asking these people to move here. These most racist people on earth. He and Elon Musk are saying, hey, come to America. Why are they asking them to do that? Because I'm telling you, look at what they're doing. They're trying to set up the same system here for part 2. Watch it closely, all right? Don't think that they don't, all right? They want to educate us to take our minds. This is what they did. They wanted to educate us to take our minds so they can never be restored. Now, everything that I've told you back in the previous videos is about them taking our minds, inserting their way of thinking in us. And anytime I show somebody conflicts in the Bible and these kind of things, man, people don't want to hear it. They get upset with me. I've even been threatened. Okay? I know people want to hurt me. Okay? So this is what I'm saying. They put us in such a sleep state, a state that we feel that the only thing we need to do is believe. As long as we believe, everything's going to be all right. And I'm telling you, our Creator didn't create us to be believers. He created us to be knowers. When I try to tell people this and show people this, man, they want to hurt me. I'm a veteran. Okay? I'm a veteran. Okay? Don't get hurt. All right? I'm not out here after anybody. I'm just showing you what they have hidden. But because of the indoctrination that is put on us. And people want to hurt you, all right? Now, in this movie, toward the end, the youth refused the European education system. This is in South Africa, in Soweto. The youth refused the European education system. They refused to go to school. And remember, whoever controls the printed page controls the thinking of the age and what we believe and how we rationally what should be rationally coming to a decision, but they instilled in us an irrational thinking process because we base our decisions, every one of them, on what they have educated us to, what they have taught us in school, what they've taught us in religion, what they've taught us through the news media, what they show us in movies, even cartoons for kids. Okay? It's hard to break that. Okay? But we were born to be thinkers, and that's why they had to dummy us down, because they wouldn't be able to compete. They would not be able to compete if they hadn't destroyed our level of consciousness to know who we are, who our ancestors were, the great things that we did. They had to erase all of that. Okay? All right. Now, toward the end, in one sweep, they murdered over 700 school children and wounded over 4,000 in Soweto. Disturbance. Now they call it a disturbance. It was a massacre. It wasn't a disturbance. But if you look at the South African paper, and if you read the South African paper, or if you look at the reports on the South African news media, it was a disturbance. And this happened in 1976. In 1962, they passed a law that they can imprison any African without a trial. Then they murdered them in jail. And on their autopsy reports, they said things like, they slipped in the shower, they refused to eat and starved themselves to death, no official explanation for the death, suicide by hanging, they hung themselves, they fell from the police car in transportation to the jail, they died from epilepsy, and everything else under the sun. Okay, when I show people these things and I try to explain to them what's getting ready to come next and what's happening, I get an overwhelming response from a lot of people that say, why should I care? I won't be here. I'll be dead and gone. Is that where you really get your comfort? That you believe that when you die is over? That when you die, you will not be aware of any of the suffering that's going on here still on earth? Well, you're wrong. I have shown you. And let me show you this right quick and I'm going to end this. If you look at our circle of ancestor history, we have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 great-great-grandparents, 32 great-great-great-great-grandparents. And if you do that equation back 20 generations or 500 years, we have over 1 million ancestors, and that's only if you go back 5,000 years. But that same mathematical equation, if you do it all the way back to the beginning of time, I don't think you can express that number. I don't think you can write that number without exponents, because that's how big it is. Now, if one of those ancestors all the way back to the beginning died, that lived, if they died and didn't live, we wouldn't be here. So you aren't alone. Number one, don't let anybody tell you you're not special. You are special. We are special. We're the one spermatozoid that made it to the egg. See, it started off as a race. You are special. But if one of your ancestors in your chain, all the way back to the beginning, was missing, Raymond Witcher wouldn't be here, and those that are watching this, you wouldn't be here either. So what I'm telling you is each and every one of those ancestors in our ancestral chain, they're having their human experience through us right now. My ancestors are with me, listening to every word I'm telling you. I can hear them cheering in the background saying, Raymond, don't stop. Don't stop. The truth is free and you got to tell it. You're not charging anybody for this. And you're not asking anybody for this. You're not telling anybody that if you don't pay, you're going to hell. They need to know these things. You got to help break this curse. So for those that are saying or believe and find comfort in, I don't care. Why would I care what happens? I'll be dead. I'll be gone. I won't be here. Yes, you will. You'll just be in the form of your descendants. You'll be in the form of your daughter, your son, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Just reverse that equation. It never stops. It never ends. Okay? I'm going to end this and I'm going to, well, let me show you just a few seconds of this, all right, so you can see a little bit.
I believe that South Africa is a country in which black and white shall live together. Those are your words. What does it mean?
It means that I, and those gentlemen in the dock, believe that South Africa is a plural society with contributions to be made by all segments of the community.
Are you familiar with the language in some of these documents the accused have discussed with black groups?
Yes, since some of those documents were drawn up by me.
The one noting with concern and disgust the naked terrorism of the government?
That is correct.
You say naked terrorism. Do you honestly think that is a valid statement?
Well, I think it is a far more valid statement than the charges against these men here.
Really?
Yes, really. I am not talking about words. I am talking about the violence in which people are baton charged by police, beaten up. I'm talking about police firing on unarmed people. I'm talking about the indirect violence you get through starvation in the townships. I'm talking about the hopelessness, the desolation of the transit camps. Now, I think that, all put together, that constitutes more terrorism than the words these men have spoken here, but they stand charged. And white society is not charged.
When you and others in black consciousness speak, you say, our true leaders have been banned and imprisoned on Robben Island. Biki?
Specifically, we refer to people like Mandela, Sobukwe, people like Govan and Mbeki.
Now, did you hear him say your people's consciousness? Okay, that's the key, because they don't want us waking up. They don't want us conscious. They want us in their system believing what they say, believing we are who they say we are, and never waking up to find out who we really are and the genetics that we came from. They don't want us to know that.
And is it not true that the common factor with these people is that they have advocated violence against the South African government?
The common factor with these people is that they have selflessly pushed forward the struggle of the black man.
So, your answer to this so-called naked terrorism is to provoke violence in the black community.
No, our movement seeks to avoid violence.
But your own words call for direct confrontation.
That's right.
Listen.
We demand confrontation.
Isn't that a demand for violence?
Well, you and I are now in confrontation, but I see no violence.
But nowhere in these documents do you say that the white government is doing anything good?
Well, it does so little good, my lord, that it is not worth commenting on.
But surely that approach inflames racial hatred and anti-whiteism.
blacks are not unaware of the hardships they endure or what the government is doing to them. We want them to stop accepting these hardships, to confront them. People must not just give in to the hardships of life. They must find a way, even in this environment, to develop hope. Hope for themselves, hope for this country. Now, I think that is what Black consciousness is all about. Now, without any reference to the white man, to try and build up a sense of our own humanity.
Consciousness, that's what they don't want. Consciousness. Let me find one more little spot on here so you can get a better idea. Okay, this is only a 5-minute clipping of the full movie. All right, but the full movie, I think it might be like 2 hours, but it really exposes a lot of things. And the reason I'm saying this is because African Americans have no perception idea of how horrible our African brothers and sisters have been treated and still are treated. Our African brothers and sisters have no idea of how bad their American brothers and sisters are treated. And it's the same thing with the Americans and the Haitians and the Americans and the Jamaicans. And none of us have a connection, even though we've all gone through the exact same thing. Okay, I got a couple of minutes more than I'm gonna show you. And then we're gonna go.
Kill the idea that one kind of man is superior to another kind of man.
We're just as weak and human as you are.
We're gonna catch you red-handed one day. Then we'll see how human you are.
You really need to
See,
watch
at war,
this
people take
movie.
great risks as a part of life. Well, we're at war.
Now, also, the actor in this movie, the white man who is the he's in the newspaper. What you're gonna see in this is not all white people that feel this way. It's not all white people that want to practice apartheid. It's not all white people that want to hurt black people. The news editor at this paper, he's the one that broke this. He and his wife and his whole family, okay, they supported Steve Biki, all right? They supported the blacks in their struggles. So don't think I'm talking about white people. I'm not. Don't think that he's talking about white people. He's talking about a white colonial system that only includes the 1%. That's what everybody did. That's what all of these racist white people that were so big up on Donald Trump are finding out now. Because when he canceled DEI, see, more white women benefited from DEI than black people, than black women. 33% of DEI, white people got jobs. White women got jobs to 25% of black people. This system was helping white people, white women, more than it was helping us. So when they canceled DEI and all of these white people lost their jobs, oh man, they're crying. They're crying because they thought they were one of them. They thought they were part of the 1%. They are now finding out you one of us. I'm smiling because this is how the game and the trick is played. I'm gonna let this go and then we're gonna get out of here.
Steve Biko is one of the few people who can still save South Africa.
This man right here.
In a country where
He-
order is maintained by force,
He was the
this
news
country
editor.
has a special kind of problem, and by lies.
Him.
I'm talking about police firing on unarmed people.
Listen,
One man would have the courage to speak out against oppression,
If you're afraid of ideas, you better quit now.
and one man would have the courage to
Him.
call him friend.
I don't understand why he's banned. You need a black leader you can talk to.
Our movement seeks to avoid violence.
This is an illegal gathering.
But your own words call for direct confrontation.
For you and I are now in confrontation, but I see no violence.
We follow you everywhere. They think they do.
Notice that the black people don't have any guns. Also notice the ones that invented gunpowder, they're the ones that went around conquering the world. We didn't need guns.
My police are investigating it.
Your police are the ones who did it.
You're a bit of poison, Biko. And I'm going to see you put away. Say your name!
Bantu Stephen Biko.
You, Donald Woods, are declared a banned person.
What do you mean we got to leave? You're going to rip the kids from their schools, their grandparents, their whole life?
How could they do this to her?
Ach, we're not really the monsters we're sometimes made out to be.
You can beat me or jail me or even kill me. But I am not going to be what you want me to be.
What do you want to do? Accept what this government's doing is going to go on doing.
Now, from Academy Award winner Richard Attenborough, the director of Gandhi, comes the true story of the friendship that shook South Africa and awakened the world. Crying Freedom, starring Kevin Kline, Penelope Wilton, and Denzel Washington as Stephen Biko.
Okay, it's a great movie. Well, it's a great factual movie showing horrible things that has been put together. Very good. Please watch it. I'm gonna end this. I have 3 or 4 videos, presentations that I have put together. I've just been too tired to do it. I'm gonna try to do one today. Again, I'm back in jail on Facebook. That's why you haven't seen or heard from me on Facebook. They locked me up, but that's okay. What else did I want to tell you? Can't remember anything else. I know what something else I want to tell you, but I'll tell you on the when I do the next video. All right. Please start educating your children. Please start educating yourself first, so that you can educate your children. We send them to school, and they get the Europeans learning, and they come home, and we don't teach them anything. We have to do better than that. We have to wake them up, because they don't want us conscious, and I do. Notice that in that movie, it's just horrible. I mean, it's a great movie that it hurts. It's going to hurt to watch this, but we need to know what's going on. Okay, when you finish watching this movie, I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Okay, they're fair questions, right? Who are the heathens? Who are the savages? What does that Hillary Clinton call us? What did she call black people? Super predators. Hillary Clinton called black people in America that are whenever a black person commits a crime, or when they do things, especially the black people that are victims, the black people that have never been able to get themselves out of the trap. Okay, you ever heard of a trap house? Okay, well, it's the same thing. Okay, the trap house is a place that captures you. It holds you hostage by a drug or by something. You can't break away from it. Well, it's the same thing with the ghetto. It's the same thing with the lower income areas. They didn't show a lot of it in this trailer, but when you watch the movie at the beginning, you're gonna just see people that are barely making it. They have been confined to poverty to the point that they have surrendered. You're gonna notice that The women that got jobs as nannies, they had to stay with the white people 6 days a week. They didn't get to see their kids. They didn't get to see their families but for a few hours on Sunday. So I'm asking you again, when you finish watching this, ask yourself, who are the savages? Who are the super predators? Black people? The ones that have been preyed on ever since white people came to Africa and introduced themselves to us? Ever since white people got off of the boat at Plymouth Rock and introduced themselves to the black people that were here in America. See, they lied about that. We were here when they got here. If you prove me wrong, go to the Library of Congress and look up the diaries of Christopher Columbus, his sons Diego and Fernando Columbus, and another man named Hernando de Soto. The most important part of these captains' voyages and their biggest tool was record keeping, because they had to report everything that they saw, found, and they thought was precious, or that the queen and king could make money off of. They had to put it in their diaries because they couldn't keep it all in their head. These were long voyages, and they had to daily keep. I did the same thing when I worked in quality assurance. Every day from the time I got to work, I had a Word document open. I would start off with the time I arrived and every task I did through that day went in my daily log. So that I don't care if it was 5 years later, I don't care if it was 10 years after the fact. If you came to me and say, Raymond, did you work on this? And I asked them, well, when? Or on which project? Which date? I could go into my Word document, do a search, and find what I did on that day. And I give them a report. I don't have to recall it from memory because I do too many things when I was on my job. Same thing with these voyagers. They could not remember the daily activities, so they kept a diary. They have the records that we can read, that Christopher Columbus, his son Diego, his son Fernando, and Hernando de Soto all said the first people they saw when they got off of the boat were Africans, like seen in Egypt, speaking the same language, following the same customs, and the same spirituality. Okay? So this is what I mean when I say we have to educate ourselves so that we can educate our children, so that our children don't believe these lies, that if we only allow them to be educated through the indoctrination of the European educational system, the European version of our religion that they stole, if we only sit back and say, oh, my child is in school, they're getting A's. A's in what? Lies about us? What? I'm not going to be who they say I am anymore. I tap out. I don't want to play anymore. I refuse to play your wicked game. I've never been a savage or a heathen. I've done a lot of things, and I'm going to say this. I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of, but I have done nothing that I am now ashamed of, because I have gone back to everyone that I know of that I have offended, and I apologized, because that is what a man, a woman that has character will do. How many apologies do we get from the European colonial system other than you need to get over it? We don't get an apology. God forgives those who seek forgiveness by humbling themselves to the person that they have done wrong or offended and say, I'm sorry. I'm not turning the other cheek for those who only want to smack it again. I'm going to knock your head off. You know, everybody always quotes, God says, turn the other cheek. Well, God says an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth too. Doesn't it? Okay, so don't pick and choose for me. Whether I want to turn my cheek, or if I want to knock your head off, if I want to put your eye out, if I want to knock your teeth down your throat. It's all in the Bible. Okay, don't let people pick and choose for you. And don't tell your children, turn the other cheek. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to go. My daughter, when she was coming up through, I think it was junior high, middle school. She was in middle school. And during this time, I was so sick, I could not function. Okay? And every day she would come home about this little girl picking on her, this little girl picking on her. Now, my mother and my sister, who was both of them are educators, they would tell my daughter, you don't hit back. You're supposed to turn the other cheek. And I told my daughter, I say, Surrey, you have the right to defend yourself. Don't let anybody feel that they have the right to put their hands on you. And you're just supposed to take it. You have to stand up for yourself and fight. And as soon as the bully see that you're not a coward, they'll leave you alone. My wife had been to the school at least 3 times in the principal's office with the other little girl's parents, and none of this had been resolved. I was too sick to go. And I got tired of it, and I called over to the school. I said, listen, my wife has been over there 3 times to address this, okay? Nobody at the school has put a stop to it. The parents of the child that is doing this to my daughter aren't doing anything to put a stop to it. I guarantee you that my wife is not coming back to that school. And if I have to come over there to resolve this, I will. And I'm not going to be nice. I didn't have to go. My daughter came home one day. She was with a girlfriend, one of her girlfriends. Now, her girlfriends, they are black belts in Taekwondo. Okay, my daughter came in and she said, Daddy, I got to tell you something. I said, what happened? She said, I got to tell you before you see it on the internet because they recorded it. I said, recorded what? She said, Daddy, you know that little girl that kept on wanting to fight me and telling me every day she's going to beat me? I said, yeah. She said, well, Daddy, the day she put her hands on me. And my daughter showed me the video. And from the time that little girl put her hands on my daughter, that was the only lick she got in. My daughter went to work and she pounded that little girl. Now, I'm not praising my daughter pounding that little girl, but because of her 2 girlfriends that had black belts in Taekwondo, nobody else would jump in. It was just a fight between my daughter and the bully, and she beat her butt. I mean, she whooped her tail. I mean, I didn't know she had it in her like that, but she got that from me. She never had another problem out of that little girl. Okay, so what I'm telling you is, you don't let a bully keep pushing you. Hit them back. Stop letting these people take advantage of you, your children, your husband, your mother, your father. You don't have to take it. Listen, the God that they gave us to tell us is our Savior is not real. I'm sorry. I was fooled just like you were fooled. And it's time that we wake up. It's time that we get up. It's time that we stand. I'm standing up. Okay? Listen, none of us are going to make it out here alive. Like this rapture they tell you about. Jesus ain't coming to save you. Do you see that he saved any of the Africans over there in Africa? Have you seen him save any of the black people from our situation, oppression here in America, Haiti, Jamaica? Tell me where. What do you keep waiting on him for? He's a mythical character that was put in place to dominate us and everybody like us, even the white people that aren't in the 1%. Okay, I'm gonna say Ashe, and the video turned out longer than I thought it was. I'm back up there again, but I don't want to leave things out, so I wanted to just give it to you. Please watch this video. Please wake up, get up, stand up. You don't have to fight. Just stand up. They don't want to fight. They want you to surrender. Okay? That's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say Ashe. Have a great day. Oh, one more thing. Today is Sunday, and I'm marking myself safe from church. They're not going to get me again. The truth is free. They sell lies in church, the mosque, the synagogue, the temples. They make you pay for their lies. You don't have to pay for it. You know, there's enough people out here now that have done enough work, research, and study that can teach you the truth. You just have to make a decision that you're ready to accept the truth. You know, the truth hurts. That's why I named this channel this. But the truth will also set you free. I'm going to say Ashe. Have a great day.